Today we are in conversation with Rahul, right? And Rahul has been here this year. I think Rahul first time in Bay Area. First time, yeah. I mean, yeah, not literally first time, but yeah, this season. Right. Obviously, and like Jay was talking about some of the introductions part, which is more for later, or maybe when we are chatting later. But there are so many stories of Rahul and Anurag, and they've been together for many years, and it's been such a pleasure to have you around. And I've heard from Anurag about all the things that were happening in 91 phase, but it's also the reason what we're going to talk about and share today is education, right? And I think that is somewhere where both of us connected a lot, and it has been such a pleasure to know about your organization and what you do. And we'll have some chat. I'll have a few questions, and if the audience can appreciate us going through that, just hold your questions for a little bit. And the format will be, when once we finish, I will say I'll take questions from the audience, so then we can have more conversation directly with you and you can ask us questions. So that's kind of the format that we'll do. So I'll begin with, Rahul, just tell us a little bit about the CLE organization, and what was your vision, how it came about. Sure. Yeah, thanks, Namita, and thanks, Aika, and everybody here for coming here. So, yeah, so I'll be brief, right? How did we start? So this was about 5.5 years ago. End of 2019, we registered, and but as a precursor to that, along with a friend of mine, so I was interested in education always, and I came to a point professionally and within my family where our economics was secured and we had time at hand. I had time at hand, and my wife agreed with my plans, and then I kind of decided to start this with a serious commitment. So for about 1 year, me and a friend of mine, we ourselves took some classes, in some municipal schools in Bangalore, because we want to test out our own motivation and commitment, whether we can do it. We have the patience and the persistence. So we did it for about a year in a low income area. We ran those extra classes ourselves, and then we thought that yeah, we're going to do it, and then we registered this NGO, and then yeah, so now you come to today. So we have been fortunate that we have now. So soon after we got registered, COVID struck. Right, so we registered in 2019, and March, April 2020, all the schools were shut. So our classes also were shut. And then we started thinking, how do we reach children who come from underprivileged background, because they were the worst sufferers during COVID, right? Their schools couldn't support them. Their parents also did not have enough access to internet devices, etc. So with some experimentation, we figured out a model that has sustained even today, and that is still one of our programs. That is in the online mode. Now, of course, we've started in-person programs also after COVID. So that online thing is, so we identified a few conditions. If we put them in place, online can work very well. Yeah. So online can't replace offline, in person, of course, but it can supplement that beautifully. This is what we realized. And that's why even after COVID subsided, everybody asked us to continue that program. And those conditions are really simple. One is that children should attend the classes as a group, not individually, because then the access becomes a problem. But how do they attend the classes as a group? So somebody has to take responsibility, right? So we find a group of adults, which could be either a school or an NGO that is working on the ground, right? Which will take responsibility from the children's side. They're already working with the children, and then they provide infrastructure, internet, etc. And if they can't, then we'll help them out. And then we look for the teacher, right? And we look for a few qualities in the teacher. One, the teacher should know the local language of the children, right? So if it's, let's say, imagine some children in some village in Tamil Nadu, for example, Nagapattinam is one such area. So a teacher sitting in Bangalore who is Tamil by background would be teaching them math for the whole year. Right? So that's an example. So So today we have at about 20 locations across 7 states of India these online classes going. There are about 40 to 50 teachers sitting in different cities in India, some even outside India, teaching a small group of children somewhere in a village or in a city of India a subject like English, communication, mathematics, science for the full year. Right. And these are people like you and me who are teaching. They need not be mainstream teachers. Yeah, no, that's wonderful. Yeah. Like, I guess, finding those teachers can be very challenging, right? Like, I mean, I think there are a lot of people who want to do that extra effort. And like you mentioned, COVID gave that experience to the teachers. Right. They had to adjust online teaching, whether that was part of what they were comfortable with or not. And then that also created creative ideas in how to teach, right? Absolutely. So, using that time frame, how did you think your teachers? Yeah, I think we forgot to mention the name of the organization. It's Creative Learning. So yeah, Center for Learning and Empowerment. Yeah, CLE. So, that's right. Yeah. So at the center, you mentioned about all these people who are sort of interested and motivated to work with children, and they had this forced learning kind of or creative learning during Zoom. I know that all the teachers did here too. And then how are you able to keep up with some of this creativity? What do you do for your teachers? So that thank you for the question, because that brings me to the core of our philosophy of our organization. So let me clarify here that online is just one of the programs today, but it kind of started during COVID and it has continued. And let me just complete that, and then I'll come to this pedagogy. So when we select a teacher, we started when we started, we realized that the teacher has to be creative, right? Teacher has to connect with children because it's online, which has its own constraints, right? So cameras are open on both the sides, and so can we replicate the real classroom energy online, right? Mm. So for that, the teacher has to be engaging. Right? So teacher should not only know the subject, but should connect with the children, should make them get excited, and it's a live online interaction that happens. And there's some adults sitting from the children's side who will ensure that they join on time, and there's some follow up that happens. That adult could be a teacher of the local school. And these classes could be either after school classes, or in some cases, they have been integrated into the main periods, regular periods of the school. So that's one. Now, coming to your question on this pedagogy, after COVID, we also started in-person programs. So we got some, besides individual donations, some CSR support and all. And with that, we started our own learning centers. So we have some learning centers in some villages in Jharkhand, and one in Chennai, and we're going to open one in Bangalore as well. And the idea of these learning center is that they are after school spaces where when children come from the school, they should want to spend a couple of hours at this center, right? They would know that they're going to have fun, and in the process they would also learn. That's the whole idea. And because there are learning centers, so we could experiment there with our methods. So that's one thing that is happening today. And along the way, we also realized that we were becoming clear about the pedagogy. So initially, we thought that if teachers are creative, they engage children well, they make it interesting, that is good enough, right? And that was good, right? But as things progressed, we became clear about what we mean by quality of education and pedagogy. So we got into our team more trustees. So we have currently 4 trustees who come from amazing backgrounds. So they are people like you, we like you and me. They have kind of established themselves professionally, and then they have quit the mainstream and they've gone into education. So they've been working in education sector for a long time. They have given a lot of thought on how the education should be, not just in terms of making the subject interesting, but how a teacher should connect with the students. What is meant by how the pedagogy should be? What do we mean by learner-centric pedagogy? So there's a lot of clarity that has come on that. And with that, we have also started teacher training programs now. And the reason for that is that we realize as an NGO, our reach will be very limited to the students, children. We can only reach so many children, right? So currently, we teach about, let's say, 1,300 students. It can go up to, let's say, 10,000, more than that tomorrow, but it will always be limited. compared to the magnitude of the problem. So there are so many teachers already in the government schools in India, and if we train them, right, and even if a fraction of them adopt better pedagogies, that could have a multiplier effect.
Right.
Because a teacher would come in contact with, I don't know, maybe a few thousand students in their lifetime.
Yeah.
So that's what has happened.
Yeah, no, I think we were talking about this earlier too. And, there's such a mindset
Yeah.
for some of us about this government school teachers or, teachers that at least back then, like what I remember is like, Parhani in class mein and, they're just there to collect the paycheck or whatever. So, I mean, in your interactions, are you seeing there is a change? Are when you talk about some of this, like how are you dealing with that challenge of engagement with teachers? And like over here also, it's so critical. We do the training of the trainer model because you're right. Like there's only so many people who can go for a professional training, come back, and they have to train other teachers.
Yeah.
And that's how we get more better practices in the field. So, what is that challenge? Has that mindset changed? And what are you doing for these teachers?
Yeah, so this is still a new program. We started last year, and there are a lot of challenges here. But there's some things that we have figured along the way that uh, so one of the challenges is these teachers are already teaching the subjects right in the schools
Right.
as per a syllabus schedule.
Yeah.
And they have limited time at hand. So if you're talking of creative pedagogy, how do we integrate that in their normal periods?
Sure.
They can't be doing this in addition to the regular teaching, right? Otherwise, they'll not adopt it. So that's a challenge. Right? So our team is now working on mapping on the regular NCRT syllabus uh, creative tools and methods, right? So that topic by topic, math, science, etc. We can demonstrate to the teachers that this is how you can do in your normal periods. You don't have to do apart from that, right? And we are conducting workshops on that. So when we talk about this pedagogy, so there's some things that have become clear. For example, if a topic is, and this is not our creation, there's so many educationists all over the world who have worked on creative methods, right? I'm sure you all are aware of some of those. And so what we figured is if you introduce a topic through a fun activity, it could be an experiment, it could be a game, it could be a activity indoors or outdoors, right? And we have a list of those activities for every topic. And it may not cost too much for a teacher to introduce that. And you get the students engaged in that, right? So students start participating in a fun activity or an experiment as a group, right? And teacher also becomes a participant. So we say that teacher is no longer a sage on the stage, but more of a guide on the side, right? Where teacher becomes a participant. It comes down from the stage and kind of holds the hand and guides the children through a set of questions as they play a game or or do an experiment. Right? And there's no concept introduced so far. And through the experiment, some things come out, right? Some things are discovered. There's a process of discovery that happens, right? And as an example, let's say if we talk of prime numbers, right? So play a simple game that get the children, certain number of children, let's say some number 18, right? 18 kids, and tell the kids to form themselves in a rectangle as rows and columns, right? And arrange them, right? Themselves in that kind of pattern, and keep reducing a number, keep taking a kid out, right? In every iteration. So they will realize at some point that there are certain numbers for which they're not able to form a rectangle. If let's say you put a condition that you can't have just one row or one column, right? It has to be more than one rows or columns. And they discover that there's something happening here, right? And then you start a discussion with them and they figure out okay what is happening here, right? In their own words they'll start expressing and the teacher is just kind of nudging them. And so this is a raw discovery that happens, right? And when this happens, students own this, right? It's not the teacher who is spoon feeding them, right? And um, and then you introduce formal terminology, okay, prime numbers or anything that doesn't matter or something, right? Formal terminologies, formula, etc. And then you introduce practice problems and practice exercises, right? So it's kind of a process of raw discovery through some fun activities, leading to formalization of that discovery, leading then that leads to repeated practice. And this probably is a pattern that works better in terms of learning. You can get even the kids who are normally who struggle in the class of mathematics, who literally fear mathematics, get interested and get excited about these.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. I think making it fun,
Yeah.
the project-based learning that we have here
Yeah.
in schools, and it's so critical to, people learn through different methods. So feeling, touching, creating all parts of different experiences that helps children stick newer concepts. So that's great. And what about some of your teachers? Their own training. Like
Yeah.
if you talked a little bit about that, they go out and seek out the different methodologies that are there, but how do they keep up? Because there's so much new concept and we can't shy away from AI that is coming in, and it's part of learning and education. So
Yeah.
share a little bit about that.
Totally. I think that's a very important point. So as I said, we have not created any of these methodologies. It's all there. People have already invented them. So what our team of trustees do, because they have experience of in education, they kind of themselves learn and find out more about these things. And as an organization, so as I was telling my friend Anurag, that CLE Trust is also an experiment in organization building. Right. So we're trying to create a culture where we ourselves keep learning, the trustees, the people who manage the program. We try to consciously make efforts where somebody goes, gets trained within our team itself on a certain methodology. For example, there's something called one of the trustees, his name is Sendil. He gets trained in a methodology called Waldorf method. I don't know if some of you heard about it. It's a wonderful kind of another alternative method, right? Creative ways of teaching mathematics, making it fun. There's another trustee of ours, Tenmoi. She recently went to Auroville. They have their own methods, through which they try to make this thing more interesting. She got trained in that. So our trustees make this effort, right? And then they train our team internally. They train the teachers through that. So this is how we try to. The other point that you mentioned, AI, right? So I was having, I think with Prakash, we were having a discussion that. So Prakash asked me, how do you scale this model, right? So I don't have answers on that. So we are not using technology very effectively, frankly, today. But all I can say is that technology has a role to play in scaling up. For example, this hole in the wall idea that you mentioned once, or maybe Khan Academy kind of tools. But at the same time, the human part you can't take away, right? The role of the facilitator is very important, right? Because they play a crucial role in getting the children excited about this whole thing, through experiments, discovery, and all of that. So how do we marry these two, right? And then scale it up. So we haven't figured it out quite yet, but yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, no, I think
We will.
AI is still a new beast for
Yeah.
all of us in the education, and I think through policies, through experimentation, there's a lot to come, but it is there, and I think when we talk to Adi, maybe I'll find out, right? That's the young person who comes next to talk to us.
Okay.
So it is really nice to hear all the creative things, but I do understand, you're working with the marginalized population, so there are many challenges and many barriers. And is there anything that you have done as an organization to overcome some of those barriers, or what are some of those, I mean,
Yeah. So
first-hand barriers that you're noticing?
So exactly, Namita. So these children who come from this background, whether it is in a village or city, they face a lot of barrier. Right? We all are aware, and more so in the villages, right? And more so the girls. So the result of all of these barriers are like, I think you all know, economic barriers, social barriers, gender biases, caste biases, all of that. Then there are other issues like safety issues for girls. Right? Like in a typical village, remote village, once the sun sets, so children don't go out, right? So they don't have any place where even they can play outside, right? They're not advised to, and more so the girls. So the result of all of these barriers is that the dropout rate is very high.
Mhm.
So in some villages, in a lot of villages, I would say remote and tribal and rural villages, uh, the dropout rate among girls could even be 100%. So there are certain levels where the dropout certainly increases. For example, 8th is the first grade.
Right, right.
Like, so every village will have a school until 8th, but after 8th, the children will have to go, let's say, at least 2 kilometers in another village. Then after 10th, further, no, that distance increases. So the dropout kind of, yeah. So that's a problem. So therefore, what we are trying, we don't know, we are not really trying to solve this problem very effectively, but few things we are doing is uh, we have another program in online. Besides teaching subjects, there's something called Empowering Young Minds, which we do. So we get people who come from who are social scientists, who have legal background, or who have medical background. They engage these children, right? And they talk about these issues. They could be health issues which are specific to girls. They could be these barriers related to caste, or let's say girls have pressure of getting married, other kind of social taboos, safety issues, uh, etc.
Right.
So
I think you bring up good point, and I was thinking about this also, especially now that we see the world so polarized, right, in different areas, and whether it's politics, whether it is choices that you make as you grow up. I mean, having those discussions with the young minds at that young age is so critical. And giving that opportunity when there is maybe an expert in some of those areas, but just having those dialogues and
Yeah.
those conversations. I think teachers today, educators today are very, they have to be politically correct.
Yeah.
And that is so difficult in such a polarized world, right? In the environment. So, creating those opportunities, are you able to? Do you see the kids curious at the same level as what we are seeing here? Like, are those debates still going on? And what do you see with that?
Yeah, so that's one thing we have realized, that if the teacher is they care about the children, and if they use these interesting pedagogies, even the children who normally struggle, you can get them excited and interested in something like mathematics,
Yeah.
which is typically a feared subject. So that's one thing, unfortunately, that happens in these schools where children from low income families go, that they grow to fear STEM subjects. Uh, they take social sciences by default. It's not that they are interested in social sciences. They find that boring also, because of the way it is taught. I think it could be very exciting otherwise. But STEM, they literally feel. But you could turn that around with a good teacher, and good methods and pedagogy. And that's one. Yeah. So one thing that we have done in response to your previous question is, we have tied up with two universities. So Azim Premji University, which is in Bangalore, they have opened a campus in Bhopal as well, and Ahmedabad University. That's also a private university. So these two are some of the few universities who have a lot of seats for children from underprivileged background, and they give 100% scholarship. Full tuition is waived, and they reach out to these children through NGOs like us.
Oh,
Yeah, so we kind of help them identify these children. So we coach these children who are in, let's say, 12th standard for entrance examination to Azim Premji. And so the kids, so we try to, through this Empowering Young Minds program, we try to counsel the kids about, what could be the future possibilities,
sure.
because many of them are not even aware.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, we're hoping that the dropout rate are reducing, but we have not measured that yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you for sharing all the good work that's going on. I know we both talked about how we follow Khan Academy, and
Yeah.
Khan Academy has now a tie-up with Arizona State University. So they're
Okay.
also doing the same kind of similar model here. The Arizona State is giving them degrees and recognizing things that students are doing. And going back to that conversation of dialogue conversation and giving the opportunity. I think I just read that through the schoolhouse. I think Nihal, is that the name of that organization where you can sign up to study more. But what they do is they've opened these platforms so people can actually dialogue on and learn, because dialogues are very difficult right now, and whether it's families with the polarization. So I think, just going back to that, I think it would be so nice to get that opportunity, more a guided way of having a debate, having different viewpoints being shared, because that it's again important for critical thinking.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Just one more point I want to add on this, on your question on how do we kind of motivate. So the parents also need to be connected with.
Yes.
Yeah, that's something we have realized, that when we train the teachers, we are training them not just on creative methods, but also and also on how to connect with the children, but also to start connection with the parents,
Right.
especially in rural areas. Like,
Yeah.
if we connect with the parents, if the teacher does that, that could make a big difference. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Parents could get motivated to just let their girl
Yeah.
go to the next standard and continue the education.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think parents, siblings are there. So it's not just that one child, right? So
Yeah,
who is attending, then it just percolates. So the more the parents are
totally.
aware, the better.
That is a big barrier. Just a small anecdote. So, it's a paradox. But so, as I said, we have tied up with Azim Premji University. So, we also coach children who are in 11th and 12th for admission into that. So far, except two children, all that have been admitted through our efforts have been boys, right? And the reason for that is that for parents, it's easier to send boys to Bangalore, right? From, let's say, a village in UP or Bihar or Jharkhand. But they would not allow the girl to go. Even for boys, there's legally problem, but then at least they would have impossible. And the one girl that came, her name is Varsha, to Azim Premji in Bangalore. So imagine, so this is a rural area in the outskirts of Varanasi where there's almost 100% dropout rate among girls. And this is the girl who has gone to Bangalore. First time she's stepping outside of that Varanasi area, right? Straight away to Bangalore, Azim Premji campus. Varsha, and she got admitted into social sciences, and she got a branch change.
Oh.
In IIT, we know how important the branch change is. You have to be really good to environmental sciences. So, and the paradox is that she lost her mother when she was small, and her father was a drunkard. So, a local NGO kind of took her away from her father and put her in a hostel because she didn't get the whatever the care from the parents. She was also freed up from the all the taboos and the constraints, and she could become independent. And then she lived in a government hostel, and then she went to a school, and then she is, I think, in the university today. Yeah. Whereas all the girls who are living with their parents, is you have to talk to their parents, convince them. It's a tougher task.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, more power to you. No, that is really some good work. As we conclude our conversation and open for communication with the group here, if there is one thing about how some people can get involved and do a little bit of more work with your organization, what would you recommend?
Yeah. So yeah, thank you. So that's a good way to end the discussion. So so there are various ways which you all can participate. So first thing is welcome. I mean, whatever capacity you want to get involved, I mean, we would welcome that. So the easiest way is volunteer, right? So you can volunteer as a teacher if you have time at hand. If you can commit even, let's say, 2 1 hour slots in a week to teach something that you like. I'll give you example from our own batchmates. There's a batchmate called Only Vivek, right? So Only Vivek taught. He's in Bangalore. We call him Only Vivek because he just writes one name. So Only Vivek. That's funny. There could be some other reasons as well, yeah, which I'm not getting into. So he taught English. He taught English, communicative English, to a bunch of kids in the outskirts of Kanpur, right? And these are kids of migrant laborers, right, who are staying in a hostel about 10 kilometers from IIT Kanpur on the Bithur side, which is run by an NGO. And he taught online. And those kids are so much attached to this guy, Vivek. He would really give them feedback. He was very caring and so on. It's all online. And they are now attached to him. Now, four of those kids are today in Azim Premji University, the batch that he taught. And they keep meeting. And still And so they still remember Vivek Bhaiya is for them. So yeah, so still volunteering is something that you can do. The other thing is ICA has, as Prakash you said, this program where you get the children, the youth to India. So we have our learning centers, we have partner organizations who are other NGOs working on the ground. So if let's say the people here who want to come spend time, do an internship. So I'll give you an example. There's a person who came from Australia, uh, uh, originally an Indian, who ran a summer camp for a bunch of kids in Tamil Nadu. Yeah, so he designed a 2 week summer camp. His name is Anand. He's also an IIT alumni, by the way, IIT Bombay alumnus. And he did a 2 week summer camp, and that was a great success. I mean, all the kids loved it. So that summer camp was basically a mix of various creative activities, some mathematical games, showing some movies, taking them on some visit to some places like museums. So a bunch of things he did, but it was he occupied the kids for so the other side. So you could have people coming there and doing these kinds of things. Or the other thing is if you know some schools or NGOs in India who we can help or who we can collaborate with, it's so who are doing good work. That's another thing. With ICA we could do that. You already are in touch with a lot of NGOs. So if you have ideas, we welcome you.
You're all ears, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So we open it up to the audience and anybody who has a question for Rahul, feel free. You don't have to raise your hand.
So I will start. Actually, the program Prakash mentioned, so much similarities. What we did with these kids right now in India, and how the kids here really got excited. And we also have actually online tutoring program where our high schoolers are trying to teach English, communication English, to these kids in India, in NGOs. And we have seen that energy, like these kids get excited, and language is not a barrier. That we figured that both teams are so excited. They keep asking each other, oh, when are we going to meet? When are we going to meet? So I see totally where and it's a very powerful tool actually to connect. But there is so much need for that.
Yeah.
So there is a lot that we can actually
Do together. Yes, yes,
together.
definitely.
Thank you,
I
Manisha.
have just one question.
Yes.
You mentioned that when you were doing the teachers training. So I was involved in one of the projects just like through Pratham organization.
Okay.
So I used to take 4 classes every day, 3 classes, so 4 days a week. And for 2.5 years, continued those classes in when there was a COVID time. And I used to teach English conversation, English grammar, English everything to the teachers because in Maharashtra, the English was compulsory from the first grade.
Okay.
The problem what happened that after COVID finished, when COVID time, the teachers were at home. They were very excited. Each team, each batch had 3 students. There were 12 teachers every day. And they were very excited. And when the COVID finished, when their classes started, their interest went down. Then they were started saying that, "Nahi, aaj to thak gaya hoon, morning music." But most of these teachers, they stayed in the big cities and they would go on the villages to teach the students. So I saw that the teachers' interest, and these were all from the government schools, by the way, primary, elementary schools, high school teachers. And everything. So have you ever noticed that kind of thing at all? The feedback from the teachers, basically.
Yeah. So can you just repeat your question?
Yeah. Have you ever noticed
I think the interaction of the team
interaction of the teachers, after the COVID,
after COVID fatigue kind of like is.
that their interest went down? So
Yeah. Yeah. So one thing that happened was in COVID, a lot of teachers were helpless, right? They did not know how to handle online. That happened with my own younger daughter. Yeah. So 2 years of COVID was a washout for a lot of kids because of that. But I would not blame the teachers because they were helpless. They were not trained for that making online interesting. But I don't know post-COVID whether teachers' interests themselves have subsided. No, I'm not sure about that.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, I think just to talk about it in the context of what we know here, a lot of teachers did, there was that fatigue set in
Mhm.
due to COVID, but then also, change of professions. I heard both ways. There were many teachers who went for, other kind of jobs, and there were other people who sort of wanted to try out education. So I have in here, at least in the Bay Area, I've seen both ways. I've seen people who stepped away from education because, like you mentioned, probably their fatigue set in or they were just not ready. They felt it was too much work for them. So maybe it was rightly said. I think it is a favor that they did if they moved out. And then those who were these people who wanted to give it a try, I've seen a lot of those who stepped in not coming from education background.
I thought that the thing happened because these were all from the government
Ah,
jobs, so they were getting 1 lakh rupees salary.
right.
So salary wise, they were very good. My husband
Yeah.
works, they
Yeah.
were getting 2 lakh rupees, big money from India.
Right.
The reason why they were because they were free, they were at home.
Yeah,
No, and now when they started after this, their work day was full, and they didn't want to put the extra time. So you mentioned that
That's possible.
they don't want to put the extra time. They want to do whatever they are doing in a
Yeah,
regular time.
exactly.
So how did you do your? How do you use their regular time for your teaching?
So that's the challenge, Govindji, is what we find. And therefore, we are trying to. So when we train the teachers of government schools, this is a typical question we get from them that all this is great methodology that you guys are talking about. But then, so for example, when we do the teacher training, we make them participate in the activities, right? So they also enjoy. But then their question is, we have to do this in addition to the classes because yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why one thing that we are doing right now is we are mapping these methods onto the NCRT curriculum, right? Where we can show that topic by topic, class by class, that okay, in this topic you can cover fully within the budgeted 4 periods that you have to cover, let's say, matter, right? In science. You can do that if you have got 4 periods following this method fully. And the child will enjoy it and will also be prepared as a byproduct better for the examination because that's what the schools and the teachers want. That the students should be prepared for the examination. That's it. Yeah. So, but then, we are still in the process of preparing that. So that's one. Anurag wanted to say something.
No, I was just gonna add to that is that your model is slightly different compared to what Govindji asked. Is he said like you are not asking the government teachers to volunteer, you are actually training them
Yes.
to perform
Yes.
better in their own setting.
Yes.
And I think you clarified that.
Exactly.
yeah.
So that's what we feel, Govindji, that if we can, so of course, we can't change all the teachers, right? Because they have their own constraints and we can't even blame them if they're not, let's say, they're also overloaded with administrative work. There are a lot of schools, by the way, which are just single teacher schools in India. So most of our participants in the teacher empowerment program, they come from rural schools and they're all single teacher schools. So imagine 100 children, one teacher. That's the reality of Indian schools. And standard 1 to 8. So what will this teacher do? The teacher is the principal also, right? So she or he would kind of, take turns, right? From one class to another, give a small exercise to the children. They just can't do justice, right? But what we feel is that even if 20% of them change, and we find that 20-25% are motivated teachers, even within the government setup. I mean, there are a lot of inspiring stories that, if we had more time, I could share. Amazing teachers that we have found that who have come to our program, who on their own are kind of trying to help the children in various ways. Yeah. So if we can kind of motivate them with better methods, better methodologies, better support, then that could really make a difference. Yeah. Raja.
Yeah, so the thing you talked about 100% dropout of girls after 8th grade, right? That is shocking.
8th or 10th.
8th or 10th, right? So online supplemented. So if they are dropping out, if travel is a problem,
Yeah.
then can they like be in a satellite school in the same school where they went to,
Yeah.
but get the education which is being taught in the higher school.
You mean in their own village school?
Right, and wherever they went to in
Yeah.
middle school, they stay there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the curriculum comes from the high school.
Yeah, maybe
You know,
something like
recorded
that
and
has to be
presented.
worked out. Rather, you're right. So safety is a genuine reason why parents don't want to send them on the buses 2 kilometers to another village, right? Uh, so yeah, something like that has to be done, but that is the government's for the government to do, right?
Why is it the government?
No, so these are government schools where they go to.
No, not the safety. They just go to the village to the went to elementary school.
Okay,
But online.
And do it remotely.
Do it remotely for them.
Provide higher education. Classes.
online.
So,
Okay, but if
but they have to go to their elementary. So let's say the
Uh-huh.
kid goes from,
yeah,
fifth to sixth.
yeah,
She's going to her elementary school.
yeah,
She goes to a different class.
Yes,
But
yes.
she gets the online education from
Yeah.
the middle school.
yeah, got it. But that's a government school, Raja, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, NGOs can also do it, but they'll have to partner with the government to get it done.
It has to be accredited so that it's.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that
But Raja, this idea is very, I think, interesting because already the government has something called NIOS, National Open Schooling Institute for Open Schooling, right? And any child who is struggling in a regular school or otherwise can opt to register here and do homeschooling, right? Or get tutored in a place. So something like that could be kind of mixed. So, but unfortunately, it's NIOS doesn't extend to these village schools. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, a lot
Because-
of, in Delhi, they're doing that.
they're doing that. Yeah,
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
but there is some institutional framework within which it can be done probably. But yeah,
But I think the main issue also can be power goes out, signal is
Yeah.
not there. There
Yeah,
are
yeah.
so many of those issues. I
infrastructure.
mean, they happen in big cities.
Yeah.
And think about these villages. It's going to be very hard to
Yeah,
implement that.
online. Yes. So by the way, Yasmin is here.
Yeah.
For a couple of minutes, I want to introduce her. So she has her own NGO. You also live in the Bay Area, and her NGO works in area in Delhi, Trilokpuri, right?
Yeah, slum and, yeah.
Slum area. And we also do online teaching,
Yeah.
for their children.
I was gonna,
Want
yeah.
to share some?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, because Rahul was, our NGO is an example of like the online classes. So we work on like a lot of children who are not going to school, getting them enrolled into school because they've come from villages and small towns. But along with that, we also have an after school. So in that after school, we have some online classes that Rahul's team provides. That so the exam he was saying, and I was thinking of our team. He's familiar with our team. So they provide the teacher. So we've done maths classes, English communications, computers also very basic computer classes. So we have a setup at our center with a TV and a laptop and everything, and they provide the teacher. And so there is some person here, like
Akbar.
the Akbar is there, or who's always there, to kind of monitor the class. And even in Delhi, we a lot of times have internet issues like monsoon, rain. Just yesterday, I think they couldn't have the class. So those challenges are there. So there's always somebody over there who kind of, even like in the beginning, I remember some of the kids would hesitate to like complain, say if they were not understanding or something.
Yeah.
So then this person, he had to kind of make them feel more comfortable, and then the engagement with the teacher. Now we've been doing this for, I think,
Years.
at least,
8
yeah,
years now.
exactly,
Yeah.
around 3 years now.
What's
So,
the NGO called?
Foundation for Equal Citizenship. So it's been working. There are some challenges for some kids. They still feel like in person is better.
Yeah.
But I think some of the teachers have made it quite
Interesting.
like interesting, and
Yes.
there's always like work that they need to do right in class as a team and all that. So that keeps it going.
I like
I wasn't sure, because what our experience during COVID also was, because all the schools were closed. So we realized that, this big gap. And so since we had a, computer and TV at home, at the center, we were asking kids to come. But some of them, like for story reading and all, they were not enjoying it. So, I wasn't sure whether they'll like this setup, but it's been working. It's been working well. Yeah.
Another example of library. So we were opening these libraries in village centers, right, learning centers. Typically, when we think of library from a conventional mindset, we think of a almirah and put the books inside that. Say we get some good books from donation or otherwise. But now we came across this concept of wall library, right? Where basically it's nothing but a simple idea where you hang the books on the wall along the ropes, right? So it's just stable kind of an arrangement so that a kid can just pick a book and keep it back after reading. So books become more accessible suddenly to the kids.
Pratham,
So now,
this is.
yeah, that's Pratham's model. So we bought them.
Yeah, we also, that's how we started.
Right.
Anybody? Yes.
Yes. I had a question. So my dad in India is part of a senior citizen that runs NGOs and that does schools for underprivileged kids. So they actually have teachers on ground which do all of that.
Mhm.
And the dropout rate does resonate with me because
Yeah.
when my dad comes home, he's looking at the cleaning lady and saying, "Did you send your kids today to the school or not?" So he's always chasing after that. Do you do this in-person training to the teachers because they do actually formally employ teachers
Yeah.
and pay them, or do you train them on site? What does the training model, or is it
Yeah.
all online?
No. So teacher training is all in person.
Oh, it's in a person.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is
So that teacher training is effective only in person. In
yeah.
fact, after you have established a connection through in-person training workshops, then probably you can do some sessions online. But it has to be mainly in person, is what we find. So when our team does teacher training, so right now we are doing it in Karnataka and Tamil Nadu because that's where our teacher trainers are. So we have a tie-up with the governments, these two governments. But we can do it also for other schools wherever we have.
Yeah, this is Delhi, and I'd love to
Oh,
connect
definitely.
my dad and their NGO to yours for
Yes, yes.
teacher training program.
So let's explore this.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, definitely.
fantastic.
So Rahul,
Uh.
you have to pick one. What's your number one challenge for in scaling up?
Challenge for
Scaling up.
scaling up. Yeah, that's a so one thing, Jay,
Just one.
so
Share. This is a problem and that they.
It's easy to say 3 or 4 things. Unfortunately, mistakes are getting at the top. And I'm sure there are multiple challenges. But
yeah.
if you were to pick one, what will
Yeah.
you say the top?
Yeah. So I'll say that let's say between funds and team is the challenge, building team. Very interestingly,
Teachers. So you will go.
so we see our team as one is a team of trustees and people who manage the program, and then the teachers who are with us, right? Teachers and trainers. So they are the ones who will do program for children and who will also train the teachers, right? Among them. And so kind of growing this team is the key, I think. Keeping our values and this approach intact, right? Quality intact. So what we feel is, if you can grow the team with quality, I think scaling could happen. Technology and all could come then as enablers. Because I also see that how easy it might be that we compromise on quality in the kind of hurry to scale up. That can happen quite easily. Team, I think, is the key. So far, we have not faced any funding issues, fortunately. Maybe at some point it will come when we want to really scale rapidly.
Can you come to chair?
Pardon?
Can you come to chair?
Then we go to jail. Yeah. Yes.
So I worked for a nonprofit in the US. It was US based, but the concept was very good that we placed retired professionals as consultants with other nonprofits. So I've worked with hundreds of nonprofits, and we used to place people who retire from IBM, Cisco.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, in India, in villages you wouldn't find, but have you looked into tapping retired people to take on that, building the team?
Yeah.
Or connecting with teachers or providing teacher training, something like that?
I think that's a wonderful idea. Yeah, we should look for more such people. We have probably a few among our teachers,
Right.
not many retired people. Yeah, a few. But yeah.
So another thing was I know of couple of nonprofits. One is Talking Points. What it does is very interesting. Is it converts the teacher's messages into the non-English language.
Okay.
And communicates with the parent. So the parent understands what the child is doing in school, and the parent is a non-English speaking.
Yeah.
So something like that could be very
The
useful.
technology solution, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
So that I would have said the second Pooja's thing. So how to use technology to enable
Right.
the scaling up is something that we need to figure out. So team and technology would be here. But I would also say that without the human, the team and all, the technology, there's a lot of good technology options available, but still that option rate is very low. And I think, yeah, there are not enough people to kind of take it there and
Correct.
yeah,
It's just similar to that, like retired people can reach or help in the
yeah.
teaching. We are also one organization called Vidyarthi Sahayak Samiti.
Mm.
What they do, the senior class students, who are like, let's say in 12th grade or 11th grade or some early college students,
Mm.
they teach,
Mm.
to the lower classes, 7th grade, 6th grade.
Yeah.
So that kids like to learn from their peers, right?
Yeah.
And they have some favorite subjects. They
Yeah.
like to learn that from their colleagues.
Yeah.
And that is working out very well.
Yeah.
And what happens that organization, they give the credit for those hours
Yeah.
because they are staying in a residence. So that many hours they get counted towards their residence stay.
Yeah. So I agree actually partially here. So while you're also right that we should also tap into the retired people, but what we've experienced is that younger people, when they teach the
Right.
children, there's more connection.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
For example, English, communicative English is the maximum in demand among all the subjects everywhere. Everybody knows that they want to learn English, right? Even higher than math, English and then maybe math. And there's so many youngsters in the cities of India, and available who can teach English to all these students. And we have a lot of such people on our board, and they can connect much better
Correct.
with the children because there's not too much of an age gap, and so that's also an advantage.
I had one experience with just Khan Academy
Mm.
because I went to a few villages,
Mm.
and some of the organizations like Kastan
Mm.
places,
Mm.
and I tried to show them. This was years ago. Show them how the Khan Academy lessons we can learn.
Yeah.
Show them, train them,
Yeah.
and then after 10 days, the teachers told me that the kids they just don't understand any accents.
Mm.
They have no idea what's going on,
Okay.
and that was their biggest issue.
Mm.
They were not interested after that
Yeah, it has to be done in their language.
in their language.
Yeah, it's
In
very
India.
interesting.
In India, yeah.
It's very interesting.
More than accent language at least. If you can converse, that's good enough.
Yeah.
Like this, only Vivek would do it, and he was teaching English using a mix of Hindi and English. So
It's interesting. We were in the fifth grade class at Kasa, and we wrote an English sentence on the board, and we asked them, "Can you read this?" And they read it. They read the whole thing correctly. And then they asked us, "What does it mean?"
Yeah.
And we said, "Oh, where do we start now?"
ये जो आपने बोला है, this point is so important. So it's not just learning English. One is English, that itself comes from confidence. But even to do well in math and science, they want to, let's say a kid is registered in an English medium school, right? Where the teachers also are not very fluent, very good at English, right? There are a lot of such schools, government schools. And so if they know better English, they can solve a math problem faster because they can read the word problem and grasp the meaning of it. Such a simple thing. Yeah. So in this Kanpur example that I'm giving, so this guy was saying that their head of that NGO, there are kids did better in math and science because through CLE they learned English.
Hmm.
They could read the word problem in shorter time and get the meaning of that. They knew the formula and the approaches, but you have to first understand the problem.
So in that sense, are we trying to move away from teaching them in local languages, or is there a dilemma? Should we teach? Should we not teach?
No. So definitely, so that's a very important question. So we also teach local languages like Kannada or Tamil in these two states. But the reality is that if you want to move further up the grades, English becomes important, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So English, I think, is right on top of this thing. So we have to just realize that while we can teach local language also, that also they need to know. But they are going to go up the education ladder or even find better opportunities through English. That is the reality. And then why not? We should.
I have a question on, you talked about commitment. of teachers and people from here. So what does that look like? Does it look like a weekly commitment, a monthly? Because school means it's a session,
It's a session, yeah.
right? So can you go a little bit because
So,
like I have
no, definitely. Thank you. Yeah. So because a lot of these are after school classes, so maybe 2 classes a week is what we have figured is kind of 2 or 3 classes a week, each of 1 hour for the whole year is what will work well with the kids.
for a whole year.
Yeah, one becomes too less.
Yeah.
Yeah, with two, yeah, with a little bit of a gap, let's say.
Yes. Thank you.
Actually, sorry.
I agree with the challenge that you said because I also visit a lot of NGOs when I go to India, and I realize that many of them say that yeah, we definitely need funding, we definitely need monetary help and all, but we also would like you all to come here, stay here, and work with our people and be with them. You know that experience, and that is also a need according to them. So it's definitely
They would love it.
model.
They
Yeah.
would love it. Especially if they've seen you online, right? They form an attachment. Even online can form an attachment. You've seen that, especially if you are with them for the whole year. They would want to meet you after that.
Yeah.
I think those connections and bonding that happen with the teachers and students still is at the very core of education. And it does not matter how much technology we have or what we have. I think we're very fortunate, and all of us are here wherever in life is due to those wonderful teachers and hard work of people who made significant impact in education. So those relationships and bonds are very important. And yeah, that's last question. And
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a question. I'm just gonna wrap it up for
Yeah.
those who are getting to know Rahul for the first time. I've known him for like 38 years.
Uh,
He has always been an idealist person. And right when we were in hostel
not
back
when I
then,
was snatching the towels.
you had some other
Let him speak. I'm surprised. This is very dangerous.
On a serious note, he has
Yeah.
always been an idealist person, and I'm glad as to how this trajectory has turned out. And one thing that surprised me as I got to know him better when he came over here this time is how important his team is to him. Because
Yeah.
I know it came out during this conversation, but he spent almost hours describing his team, and almost every single individual showed me his pictures. I mean, his passion for his team was really stood out for me specifically. And all of us who are in Bay Area and worked in many different teams, we kind of realized how important it is team. And I was very happy to know how important the team plays a role in his journey. And finally, what I will say is that I would have loved to volunteer. My son just told me, Dad, you're going to be a very bad teacher.
Nihal would be a better teacher.
I agree.
At least for the kids. You can connect to them better, I'm pretty sure.
I don't.
Yes.
I think I will do, but I think there is an overwhelming
Yeah.
choice that I should not.
You might be a better trainer for the teachers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Teacher ही भाग जाएंगे.
He can tell them how to make the class fun,
No, but on that note, I will say Rahul Pandey, he's also very infectious in terms of what the passion he can convey it very nicely, because when he was here in like 1 week or 2 weeks, he convinced me that he wants to teach robotics to his kids.
Yeah.
And then we went after 2 or 3 robotic kids, and we
Yeah.
built a whole robotic thing so he can go out and get the robotics started.
That was
for
amazing
his kids.
experience, So Anurag got excited. And he has he's done it with his kids, Nihal and Ishan. And he was reliving those experiences. So for one day, Namita wasn't there. We became kids. We ordered robotic, whatever, toy car. We assembled it. And then he bought 2 of those models for 2 of my learning centers.
Very nice.
And those people are already excited. They're setting up STEM lab actually there. So this is going to be nice.
But that's what he does to you. So
Maybe he funded that company, that's why he's getting that robot.
No, thank you. No, it has been a pleasure to know about CLE, about the work that you do, and the journey that you've shared about how far you've come along. So we're very thankful for this opportunity to learn more and hopefully get involved more. So thank you, Rahul.
Namita. Thank you, ICA. Thank you, all.
I think one thing which you forgot to mention is it runs in the family. So his brother was a co-founder of Asha and has won the Nexus Award,
Yes.
which is like the equivalent of Nobel Prize in Asia.
Yes.
So
Family.
yeah. Right, right. So, I'll take just a few more minutes before we kind of end tonight. And because Adi is here. Adi, you want to come close by? Yeah.
Maybe you come here and sit there.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we spotlight what we're doing right now, right, Adi? So I'll have you share a little bit about what you're doing with the project. But basically, the idea was this is the first year in California that the public education system opens its doors for the 4-year-olds in public school system. So anybody who turns September 1st is 4-year-old has the right to start a education in public schools.
Kindergarten, not just a.
It's called transitional kindergarten. So if it's a choice, because of course legally or lawfully you cannot dictate anything to a parent, but a parent, if they go to the neighborhood school, public school, and ask for enrolling their 4-year-old who turns 4 on September 1st, that is a UPK rollout that California had, and this year it is in the works. So through my work, last year also I was teaching summer academy where I had teachers and principals, and we were all talking about these teachers who were teaching elementary schools. And it is a struggle for teachers to teach younger kids, especially as they're coming out of COVID. We talked about all the challenges that students face, parents face, as the kids were coming out of COVID. So during my training, I realized, how important, and as Rahul, you heard about storytelling, about connecting with the students. So that was the reason I've chosen a project of which is called belonging. So the project of belonging is something that has been passionate to me, especially as I had these conversations with the teachers and principals, because it is important that in California, especially in the Bay Area, we are a very diverse community. So they are getting immigrants, they are getting English language learners, they're getting students with disabilities. So they have to have a very open mind and open heart to receive these young kids for the very first time in the school system. So I've written a book and I need lots of help. And some of my helpers are, so today is the first time I share about the book, as it's still not yet ready, but I had this wonderful web developer who's helped me create a little bit of a design which talks about the book cover. I give more information about the content of the book and the importance of why it needs to be talked about, because belonging is so important in a classroom. The book is for 4 to 7-year-olds. It's for educators, for parents, for students. And we have an illustrator who's in Denmark. So we have this time challenge and she has to finish up. I've done my part. I'm working with her to get the whole illustration complete. I anticipate within a month to 2 months. I've got some publishers' interest. But there's a girl who's working on the music part of the book because it is a simple book which can rhyme and be put into music. So I have this wonderful friend whose daughter is an amazing artist. She's doing the music. And Adi here worked on developing the website. So Adi, tell me a little bit about what it was like to work on the website.
So originally I wasn't 100% sure on what I would put in the website. But once we got like more and more content flowing in, I settled on like a main design where you can go from page to page, and I had just a bit about the book in each page. And so one main part is the belonging project. So I with the help of ChatGPT, I coded a thing where you could draw anything and import images or whatever. And then after that you can send the image and it will automatically send it to my inbox. And so she was saying that this allows children to like show what belonging means to them. and yes,
Good. Yes.
It's very helpful because he tells me about, I should have more of this or I should create more content. And so he's like my content driver on the web page. And I'm so thankful for that support because
How old is he?
Yeah.
12. 12.
12.
He's your user and your developer in some way.
yes,
He's
yes, yes.
your
He's
AI.
a user developer.
He's your AI.
Yeah, he's right. So
How did you get connected?
friends, Jitesh and Ritu, their sons. So, I was looking for some help in the summer and Jitesh said, let me volunteer Adi. He is always up to not doing, looking for more work to do. So that's how we connected. And, Adi.
Reduce our work during the summer.
It is really nice. And we talked about, how important it is when kids connect with each other. So I just shared the website. Yesterday was my summer academy for this year. And people were just like, wow, like it's just coming out so nicely because it's done with heart, right? When you do things, Rahul was talking earlier, you're doing it out of your own interest and your own passion. And we'll share the site and you can take a look and give ideas on improving it because we're still working on it. So definitely take a look. And Adi, you want to share a little bit maybe on the website?
Yeah.
Yeah. We can use his computer if it's still
Yeah.
working. Yeah. And we can show you that one. And then I don't know if we have time. We'll just do some more sharing, but yeah, Adi, go ahead. Share. Website. And everything about the team is on there on the website. So if you go on the team page, he has a little bit.
While he's bringing up the website, I do want to add because a lot of people are looking at me. I did volunteer, but I got in favor of a 12-year-old guy. But I did volunteer.
So thank you for clarifying. I'm glad you did not do the job.
I'm glad she didn't give you. Energy and ideas. All right, so Abby, go ahead, turn it around so they can see it.
What's the website called?
That's
The
the book
joyful
cover.
song.
And this is the cover is designed by Gaia, who's illustrating for the first time.
Nice job.
She's in Denmark and she's just very good visual artist who's using AI for illustration, and this is her first illustration.
So why does it say the joyful song and not belonging, or is the name?
Yeah. So the name of the book will be The Joyful Song, and it is about I without saying much, I will be reading a little bit later. But basically, it's about a kid who was new to the school and what is his experience belonging. So throughout the idea is that we will be sharing with more educators and parents, and they can share what belonging means to them. So the project will build up as people share what it means to them.
Okay, so
You
You can show some tab on it.
yeah, what are those tabs on top? Yeah, so if you scroll down, you can just see a bit about the book and the inspiration for the book. Should I read out loud? Okay, so
don't read the inspiration. I told them.
It's very long, by the way.
Yeah, that
I
one.
guess you want to use the feedback.
so this is like the team. So this is the musician,
Oh, that's good.
and she made a.
She sang first two paragraphs.
So and then this is the artist, Gaia. She was
This is
brought up
Gaia.
in-
Yeah, and I think this has the two characters of the book in there, right? You have that.
I mean, this is about me.
All right.
A couple of others.
Oh, I like your picture of jumping. We got some nice ones of yours. I like.
He's making the,
I see a
website.
dashboard created.
So he's making the website in the picture.
Oh,
The
I.
website that's there. So
So this is about
This is a
yeah. And couple fun facts about the book and whatever. And these are like her blogs and
Nice.
socials.
Good job, Adi.
And then you can
Pretty
click on these.
Yeah.
And how long it took you? Like 2 hours to do it? Since you said the word chat GPT, I was like, just.
The
No,
He did this now.
He took this out.
Very good now. Good job.
as long as the belong project for if I can draw something.
So nice.
It's the color. And
So it's interactive. Huh?
yeah. And then if let's say you want it.
Very nice.
And then if you don't, press send.
And it goes to the person. Is that what you were saying? That it
Yeah, and upload it. It sends the image to my Gmail.
right?
I'm just like,
All right, thank you. Bob.
thank you.
So stay tuned on the website. We'll share with you.
Thank you.
And then, help us with the book.
Thank you.
It comes out.
So what's that with
Oh, yeah, we'll share with you. So you wanna.
Thank you.
I will. I